Welcome to the Pistons Fanatic. I'm your host, Dave Dalton, and I'm excited to share my passion and perspective of our Detroit Pistons as we go on this fantastic voyage together. I've been a diehard Piston fan since the days of Dave Bing and Bob Lanier. I've also been the varsity basketball coach of a very successful program in northern Michigan. I want to thank all of you for listening. Please subscribe if you haven't done it already. Tell a friend about the podcast and click on that thumbs up button. All of that makes a huge difference for me, so I really would appreciate it. But our Pistons are getting so much respect from everybody. Everybody in every corner that covers the NBA, smart basketball people. NBA Today was talking about how great Cade's going to be. We're ranked 10th in the power rankings for all the teams in both conferences. We're ranked 4th in the NBA, in the Eastern Conference by some people. Just lots of great things. And so we're going to talk about a lot of those things today. Let's get started by talking about Zach Lowe. I like Zach Lowe. He's a lot of good things. He's entertaining and interesting and smart. So a couple weeks ago, I think, he did a podcast and he said, where he just threw out there that Jaden Ivey is the most intriguing player in the entire NBA. And so he went on to say how exciting, the potential of Jaden Ivey, all the things that he showed last year, and how much he expects that there's a great chance that he could really pop this year and improve and make a huge difference for our Pistons. So then, like 2 weeks later, he does a podcast about the most intriguing players in the NBA, along with Howard Beck, who's another really smart guy. So they have a draft. Well, I think that Zach Lowe had the second pick. I think somebody picked, Howard Beck chose Cam Johnson first. But Zach Lowe, who said that Ivey was the most intriguing player, said in this draft he picked Ausar Thompson as the most intriguing player. And he went on to talk about how great he could be and how he could take this ginormous leap, that he wouldn't be surprised how great of a cutter he is, how well he works with Duren, how, and this, we saw it. I mean, we saw it against the Knicks, and it's going to be really essential for us because people are going to try to trap Cade, and we need to make them pay. And so we did at times last year. We did it against the Knicks. They double Cade. We get the ball at the high post to Duren. Ausar, who, like he said, was a super cutter, and they had great chemistry, Ausar and Duren. Ausar also made some great passes to Duren. So those two guys who many people think could not play together showed great signs. All the analytics show that they were really positive on the floor together. And I just really look for that to, really come into play this year. Ausar, some people think he could be the best defensive player in the league. I've heard an expert say that. And for sure, all defensive team. Of course, last year he didn't qualify for all defense because he didn't play enough games. And ironically, there's some guys that think that Amen was the best defensive player in the league last year. And I've heard other people say they think that Ausar is even better defender. Sam Vecini said he thought Amen was the best defender in the league last year. And then I've heard other experts say that they thought Ausar was even better than Amen. So we'll see. It doesn't matter who's who, but I mean, the bottom line is he is elite of the elite. He does so many things at such a high level. I expect him to take a big jump. I think that's the biggest reason, him and Ivey together. And again, so anyway, I'm jumping all over the place. I'm pretty pumped up. But Howard Beck in the draft, I think with his second pick for the most intriguing player, picked Jaden Ivey. And so, everybody talks about, he shot 40% last year. He's 45% on catch and shoot threes, but he could take a big leap. The thing we know about our guys, Ausar and Cade and Ivey, and why we think is they are going to work hard. They're young players tend to have the opportunity to get better more than veteran players. It only makes logical sense. But we have all these young guys who have so much potential. So I think I'm just real optimistic that they are going to take these huge jumps, that Ivey will. Here's the thing, though, that I really want to point out. So Ivey played 12 minutes with Ausar last year. 12 minutes. Those two guys together. So what they do is they get you so many extra possessions. Duren's a beast on the boards. Duren goes after offensive rebounds outside of his area. how many balls kick out on long rebounds and Ausar or Ivey aren't even near them, and they just come flashing out of nowhere and get the ball, even though there are players on the other team who are closer to the ball. They just are so lightning quick that they get all these extra possessions. Transition defense is such a huge thing. There's a reason why older teams have been unsuccessful in basketball, and one of the things is the transition game, both offensively and defensively. And those guys are elite. They're just their speed. They just cover up so much ground. Ausar and Ivey, they're two of the fastest players in the NBA. And so they play 12 minutes together. What happens if they play? So now they should start together. We didn't start Ausar at the beginning of the season because he had his blood clot thing, and they were limiting his minutes. He didn't have training camp and all that. So then Ivey breaks his leg. Then Ausar gets to start, and then the Pistons kind of take off. But they didn't get a chance to play together. I can't wait to see Ausar and Ivey on the court together. And we got to see even Ivey's rookie year. Cade got surgery and missed part of the season. Ivey had some great games at playing point guard. People forget that. He had some tremendous games with lots of assists and lots of scoring both. And so that is why, other teams made some better moves than us, but getting Ivey back and putting him together with our team with Cade pushing the ball, Duran rim running, and we just had a chance. We have going to be a really good fast-breaking team. Ron Holland is incredible in transition. He gets that ball, he finishes at such a high rate, and he just has those long strides, and he has the ability to move one way and the other way both at the same time, and he's really hard to stop. But Zach Lowe said that Ausar is the number one reason why he has optimism for Detroit. And he said he was bullish on Detroit's offseason moves of getting LeVert and getting Duncan Robinson. And so, he's my guy. Bill Simmons wasn't as intrigued by it. But anyway, he says Ausar will be really, really good really, really soon next year. And so I think that is exciting for us. Cade Cunningham on NBA Today, they're talking about Cade will be dominant. That's what Big Perk said. I don't always agree with every take Big Perk says, but it's cool to get a shout out on national TV. And then all the guys think that Cade is going to be in the MVP conversation, and Cade always got diminished. Everybody in Detroit, we've been getting trashed for all these years, and we haven't been good. But now it's so cool that all these guys are coming out of the woodwork. They're all talking about the Pistons, and they're all talking about good. And that Cade, it was 7th best odds for the MVP next year. 7th best odds for MVP. And he finished, I think, about 7th this year on some. But, and then there's obviously there's some players that are going to be injured, that are going to be out. That makes it even a little bit easier for him. So, yeah, it's going to be fun. And, they said Cade's going to be dominant. They had to fill in the blank and like one word for Cade Cunningham. And Mark Spears said a problem, which is cool. And Dave McMiniman said he's MVP-ish. And so, again, all cool stuff. And, yeah, it's going to be so much fun. I just hardly can wait. And Ron Holland, what about that Summer League? Summer League is not the end all. The players are playing against aren't all great, but the shot looked pure. The energy looked awesome. And he just looked like he's ready to take a leap. And young players do take leaps. And he's putting in the work, and he looked really good. And it's going to be hard to keep him off the court. And, yeah, it's going to be fun. We got Aretha Franklin. She's Motown. RESPECT. Respect. That's what the Pistons are getting right now. And so it's really, really cool. So NBA.com had their power rankings, and they had Pistons ranked number 4 in the East. And we're going to break down the East real soon. But right now they're number 4 in the East. Some people have them 5, a lot of the experts, but they still have them, in that top either 4 or 5. And lots of things happen. We've seen it this year. Amazing things happened. And where teams like the Pistons took this ginormous jump, and Some teams slid down way further. Obviously, injuries play a big factor. Our Pistons, they get injured. They had a pretty much injury-free other than Ivey last year. Nobody missed long stretches of games. So that was part of the reason of our success was we were so healthy. And, obviously, injuries can happen. But we have young players. They're less likely to happen. I think we have a really good training staff. And I think we have good enough depth that we can sustain through some injury problems. Another big topic has been Cam Thomas. Cam Thomas is a freak. Cam Thomas is so gifted. He is so talented. If you watch him play, his numbers, everybody in the gym knows that Cam Thomas is going to shoot it. And nobody can stop him, but he shoots at incredible percentages, his field goal percentage, his true shooting, his three-point percentage. And when they all know he's going to shoot it, and it's different when you shoot that high of percentages when, you shoot when you're open. He just can get buckets. And obviously, there's a reason why they haven't signed him. The Nets have not given him an extension. He's still a restricted free agent. There's rumors about the Pistons are the betting odds, the best odds of getting him for whatever reason. But those things mean nothing. There is no reports that we're going to get Cam Thomas. It's just logically the people in Vegas just suggest that seems like the most logical place for him to go. So I don't think the Pistons will ever try to get him. And we have too many players now. I think he is a better scorer, but I think like LeVert, and I'm not the biggest LeVert fan. I've never been the biggest LeVert fan, but LeVert has more size, so he's more switchable. He's far better passer, and he showed some really good passing chops this last year and had a 2-to-1, I think, assist-to-turnover ratio, and he showed signs of being a better defender with that size, obviously. It makes you more switchable. But, yeah, Cam Thomas, it wouldn't be the end of the world, but it's just we don't have minutes. If we have, like I said the last podcast, like if we were to get, and there's still people hanging on hopes that, we can get somebody else that we can get from Malik Monk. But we just don't have minutes. With LeVert, we just don't have minutes with Ivey, Cade, and LeVert. And then if we throw in Holland or Ausar or even Duncan Robinson can all play the two. So that's the thing about the NBA. The NBA, and I discussed this briefly before, that it's not even about, you want to put guys in numbers, but the 2, 3, and 4, at times they can all be switchable, even the 1. And especially with some of the guys that Pistons have that can play. Ivey can play the 1 and the 2, and, LeVert could play some 1. And so there's guys that can play different positions, but, Ausar, Holland, and Robinson, they could be all on the floor at the same time. And to label them with a number, it's just going to depend on the defensive matchups. So depending on who they think matches up best, that's who they'll guard, whether they're a 2 or whether they're a 4. And so we'll see how that works out. But it is exciting. It was also interesting. Big Perk has his big list, and he did the best ball handlers in NBA history. And really cool for my guy Isaiah Thomas was he had ranked number 2, and Isaiah was incredible. And Kyrie Irving was number 1. I can't argue with that. I think Steph was number 4. Can't remember who was number 3, but Isaiah was really gifted. But it's really cool when our Pistons get recognition. So what did we do during the offseason? We waived Ron Harper Jr. He showed some signs of promise, but we wanted to make some other moves. So we signed Chaz Lanier to a contract, our number 2 draft pick, who didn't look great in the summer league. So I really don't expect that he will get any playing time this year. I mean, it takes some. He can. So summer league is short, not that many shots. He had some good games where he shot a couple games where he shot better. Obviously, he is an elite shooter, but he hasn't shown that he could do much anything else. And of course, there's a reason that he fell to 37 when he was that good of a shooter. So, but we'll see how it happens. He'll play, for the Crews and hopefully do well. But we signed Colby Jones to a 2-way. So we got our 3 2-way guys signed. And Colby Jones is only 23 years old, 6'6", so he's real versatile. He played 15 games for the Wizards last year, and he averaged 8.7 points and shot 47%, but he showed signs of being good on defense. He showed that he can pass. But the big story of the Summer League, in my opinion, obviously, we know that Ron Holland made second team all Summer League, which could have easily made first team by a lot of people, including me. But the biggest revelation was Daniss Jenkins, and he showed signs last year, but he's a feisty guy. He's a guy with lots of energy, lots of spirit. He fits in. He's a lot of things. His personality is quite a bit like Ron Holland. They have fun, but they get after it. They're not afraid of anybody. But Daniss Jenkins, so that doesn't. If you have all those, attributes, that doesn't make you a great player. It can help make you a better player. But he showed the signs of handling the ball, passing the ball, defending. He was a lockdown defender for Reed Shepherd. He made him look not very good. And so here's the thing with Daniss is that the plan is obviously that Cade's going to be the one, and that they're going to stagger just like last year before Ivey got hurt. They're going to stagger and play Cade and Ivey, and JB did a great job of that. And so Ivey's going to play the one when Cade gets off the court. But that gives us another option, and I still, people, I'm just going to tell you that everybody thinks that, they make judgments on people, and then everybody regurgitates the same things that other people say. But you just can't go by all what everybody says and what everybody thinks. And then sometimes it seems to me that it just becomes ingrained in everybody that they think that this player can do this and this player can't do that. But I think Daniss Jenkins is a great third string point guard, and he can go back and forth to the crews. But if somebody gets hurt, he can come up, and like I said, LeVert can play some point. But it's nice to have a guy like Daniss Jenkins. And I like Tolu Smith. So it was a significant signing for me to get B-ball Paul Reed and sign him to a 2-year contract. He's really good. He played great for us almost every time he stepped on the court, and it was hardly ever for more than 13 minutes. He made things happen. But in the NBA, you have to have 3 centers. It's just proven over and over again. Because what happens is they get hurt more than any other position, I think. I think that stats would show you that. But they also, so if one guy gets hurt, then all of a sudden, if you have only 2 centers, you don't have a backup. By the way, I've seen some video of Stu shooting the 3. He was lighting it up. Of course, a lot of people in workouts light it up. But my take from that is that Stu is going to shoot 3s again. He didn't even attempt hardly any last year, and they would leave him wide open. And he shot 38%, I think. And I think that he'll let it fly more this year. So I like that. I don't like it when his man, if he's at the 3-point line and his man standing at the free throw line, it makes this easier to guard. But I'm just happy that we have the 3 centers. But what happens if one of the 3 get hurt? Then we're down to 2, and then somebody gets in foul trouble or hurt. We're in trouble. But that's where Tolu Smith, who a 2-way player, just signed a 2-way contract, is valuable. One of the bigger surprises is, though, I don't know what the power ranking was where I saw it, but the Pistons were ranked 10th in the entire league. So if I had a penny for every time guys on podcasts, and I listen to too many, say that the East is terrible, the East is weak, the West is awesome, the West is hard, but when you recognize that the Pistons were ranked 10th, and a lot of people think they're 5th, in the East, 4th or 5th in the East, and they're ranked 10th in the entire NBA over a whole bunch of Western Conference teams. That's saying something. And again, my best guess is this year is going to be more insane than any other year, and that there's going to be teams, and I'm going to discuss this later, like what could happen. What is the range of outcomes for the Philadelphia 76ers? It is bigger than the ocean. I think that they could finish really good if everybody stays healthy to some degree, and they could be terrible if too many guys get hurt and things fall apart. But they just have a lot of really good players, and so they got McLean coming back, and they drafted BJ Edgecombe, and he's awesome, and Max, he's awesome, and I know Paul George is hurt again. But anyway, that's just an example of a team that has just a big range of where they could finish. I mean, I feel the same way. A bunch of teams, Toronto, who knows? They could finish higher or lower. And Atlanta made so many great moves, but is it going to all work together? But again, I'm not going to talk about that today. But here's some fun things. What we've heard all the time is everybody loves our culture. People want to play for the Pistons. LeVert said before he signed with the Pistons, he was a free agent. He called Tim Hardaway Jr. And what did Tim Hardaway Jr. say? Greatest place to play. Detroit Pistons have the greatest guys. They're fun to be around. There was interviews with Duncan Robinson. He's already was out at Las Vegas working out with the guys, how much he loves the guys, how much he admires Cade and respects Cade. And again, I think it's going to be a huge factor, the way he runs around. And it's going to draw a lot of attention because of his three-point shooting threat. So yeah, it's really cool. And I'm just really excited. Tim Hardaway Jr. also, they talked to him about Stu. He said, Stu has the heart of gold, and he wouldn't hurt a fly. But between the lines, he's a different person. And we've seen that, and I've talked about that, how he is so nice to everybody and so good to everybody and to little kids and other players. And we're really blessed to have him. But, something goes off and when he's, gets in competition. But anyway, thanks for listening. I haven't been on for a while. There hasn't been exactly any breaking news, but I hope you can share this with another friend that likes the Pistons and be the reason that somebody feels loved. Go Pistons.